Welcome to the second episode of the Viking Voices Podcast. I'm your host, Jaden Babiuk. This week, we have Tara Dahl on, who's the student director for the VCSU Band, among other things. Tara, glad to have you on the podcast.
I'm happy to be here.
Well, let's start it off like we did last week. If you could just introduce yourself. Before we started, you gave me your hometown, but that's about it.
Yeah.
You go ahead with the rest.
So, like you said, actually, my name is Tara. I'm originally from Hazelton, North Dakota. I grew up on a ranch like 15 miles out of town. I'm a music education major. I'm in my fourth year here, just about done, which is crazy. I'm in band, choir, lots of music. I don't know. What else do you want to know? That's about all there is.
I mean, we can talk about it all. So, student director for the band, I would love to
Yeah.
hear when and where did you kind of start with that? What was your kind of how did you get it on the ground floor? Obviously, I don't know if you were the director right away, but
No.
you let us know how that kind of came to be.
Okay, so this was kind of a process several years in the making, I suppose. When I came here as a freshman, I did not plan on being our drum major. That was not really in the cards. I was heavily choral focused, and I spent exactly one semester here before I realized I love both band and choir. After that, I kind of realized I also really enjoyed being in leadership positions, and so I started putting myself in situations where I was helping move equipment, and I was, connecting with other students and peers, and then as I got older, it turned into mentoring underclassmen. And my band director approached me, and he said, "Hey, would you like to audition to run the band?" And I went, "You're kidding, right?" And he said, "Absolutely not. It's an audition process. I'm going to teach you the things that you need to know, pay attention to what other drum majors are already doing, but would you be interested?" I said, "Heck yeah, of course I would." So I went through an audition process in actually right around this time last year.
Mm-hmm.
There were about 4 of us that auditioned. We did a bunch of mechanical work, so we're talking like calls for getting the band to parade rest and the things that you have to do in a parade to move them back and forth down the street and the actual conducting of things. And then we went through an interview process, and I answered lots of questions. I'll be honest, don't remember what I said, but it must have gone well. And so, it started out with very small things of just being in leadership positions and putting myself out there. And then I got approached and asked and realized this is a really great opportunity for me and one that I don't want to even consider passing up.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel very, very blessed to be working with that group every day.
Yeah, for sure. And you've been in the band, or at least affiliated with the band since your freshman year?
Yes.
On the ground floor, right on.
Yeah.
What did you start doing there?
I love this question. So I came in as a vocal primary and a trumpet player by trade. But I can also play like euphonium, tuba. I did a little bit of that in high school. It was not my thing. And so I came in and I told my band director, "I'm playing trumpet." He said, "Okay, great." I made it to mid-October and he said, "Look, we could use some extra instruments in the saxophone section. I know you don't play saxophone, but I have this weird thing called an alto horn, and it plays in E flat or an F, and you can double saxophone parts." I went, "Okay, let's give it a try. Let's see what happens." And then we were like, "Okay, now we could use some more voices in the French horn parts. So let's put the F slide in and play in F rather than E flat and play some French horn music." And I really, really fell in love with it. So trumpet player by trade, but right now playing something called an alto horn that I really love.
Okay. So do you like the trumpet more, or do you like this new kind of
the alto horn.
Okay.
100%.
Interesting. Yeah, you never know what you're going to find out when you try something new, and
Yeah.
look at that, it surpassed your trumpet
yeah.
trumpet playing days.
Please don't make me play a trumpet again if I don't have to.
Wow, look at that. So we got the first two. I was going to ask you, where did you start? When did you start directing? Let's dive into some of the favorite events you've done, kind of over the course of your career here at VCSU with the band.
With the band.
Yes.
Okay. Immediately, one moment that sticks out in my brain. Freshman year, we were playing at a basketball game, and I live for pep band season. I love concert band as much as the next guy, but I live for pep band season. Basketball, football, I don't care. It's just so much energy. And we were playing at a game, and there was a blackout citywide, no power, in the middle of the girls' basketball game. And we all went, "Okay, I guess we just hang out now, like, see what happens." And we made it about 5 minutes in, and we all kind of started playing around on our instruments. And it started with an upperclassman playing, I think it was the VeggieTales theme song, and we were screwing around. And Carrie Strickland came to us with an industrial flashlight, and she said, "Can the band play?" And we went, "Sure, I guess." And for about, I don't know, must have been about a half hour, we just ran through our set and just played and played and played in the dark. That is probably one of my top memories of just random things that we've done together, because how often do you get to play in a blackout?
Right.
You know? Another one, moving from Foss. I came right at the tail end of what we refer to as the Foss era.
Not many will remember that one. Not many people remember that.
But we moved from the old music building into the CFA in the spring of my freshman year. And I went, okay, so we're going to move some instruments across, move some music. Like, it's going to take time, but it'll be fine, right? It ate up months of our life, and I had no idea what I was getting myself into, and I loved every second of it. I made some really great friends. There's nothing quite as bonding as moving heavy equipment day in and day out.
That's fair.
And I didn't realize it at the time, but looking back, like, God, we just had so much fun. Like, yes, we were working, but we were laughing and we were joking and we were telling stories and getting to know each other. And there's nothing quite like that.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. And, you know, to your point about the Foss Hall, I think I was in there once.
Yeah.
And like I said, not a lot of people are going to remember that place at all.
No, it no longer stands. Poor old Foss.
Yeah.
But
more parking space, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to talk a little bit about Summer Vikes.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the big kind of events that the band has a lot of exposure. All the sports teams are there, kind of almost the campus. The whole campus is there, and then obviously the booths downtown. There could be a couple thousand people downtown at one time. So what does that event, you've done that all 4 years, I'm assuming.
Kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
You'll have to dive into that then.
My freshman year, I don't think the band was involved at all, if I remember correctly. And then sophomore year, I don't think we were either. I take that back. I know for sure we marched my junior year and my senior year. So it's relatively new for us to be involved in that. And so it was kind of one of those things where we weighed pretty heavily, you know, do we have the time to get this ready? And we determined that, yeah, we can pull this off. We can make this work. And so it was really exciting. I got to watch it come into existence. But eventually all the years run together, you know. So we went from not doing Summer Vikes to let's add a marching performance and let's kind of get our feet wet there and do a little bit more marching than we're used to. So that was really exciting.
Right, yeah. And so the follow up on that is what I was gonna ask first, but then we kind of went on a little tangent, which is perfect because I love it. And what I was gonna ask is that one of your kind of more anticipated, like, okay, we're really looking forward to this, we're amped up, we're really getting ready for this. Is that one of your bigger performances of the year?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I guess it depends on how you look at it. I, like I said, live for pep band season, all things athletic band. I never marched in high school. So some people are like, parade marching, we've got this. So chill, we're so ready. And they're excited, but cool, calm, and composed. I'm just wound a little tight all the time. I'm super, like, Energizer Bunny would be a good way to describe it. And so when they came to me and said, hey, you're going to march twice this year, I went, all right, let's get it. Let's go. And so everybody kind of tries to play it cool and stay super focused because we have a job to do. But when it comes right down to it, we're like, you know, performance week. We're all kind of looking at each other going,
yeah,
it's Summer Vikes week and we're really excited about it. And once you get us out on the street, the energy is just through the roof.
Yes.
So it's a controlled chaos, I suppose would be a good way to say it.
That is well said because, you know, there are a lot of people crossing that bridge and, you know, downtown. And so if I'm getting my timelines right, you were playing your junior year on the march, or were you you were playing and you were directing this year.
Correct. Yeah. So the way our season works, you start your tenure as a drum major in the spring semester and use basketball kind of as a training ground to learn what you're doing. You're a little less hands-on at a basketball game, and then you're more ready by the time you get to football season and marching.
Right, gotcha. So how does it change? I want to go back to the marching part. How does it change when you're playing as opposed to directing?
Ooh, that's a really good question. There's a lot more to think about. I was just having this conversation this morning with a couple of my friends. The amount of information that I take in standing at the front of the band is exponentially higher than I felt like it was when I was inside the band. When I'm inside the band, things like fingerings are automatic. I know how to play my notes. Things like rhythms are automatic. At the front of the band, this is the first time I've ever done this. Nothing was automatic. It didn't matter how many times I practiced it, how many times I worked at it. I constantly had to think about it. And then beyond that, I'm taking in feedback of what I'm hearing and seeing from the band. I'm paying attention to step style. I'm paying attention to tempo, if we're falling behind, if we're rushing. I'm paying attention to, oh my gosh, my, I don't know, a French horn player, let's just say, because that's what I play, a mellophone player. Somewhere in the band, their lyre fell off their instrument, or they lost their mouthpiece during the horns up maneuver, and they're running down the street trying to catch it and get back in line. Anything can happen. And it comes back to like I'm processing all of that, and I have to decide what calls to make in a moment. And it was a lot. It was a lot to learn, and I was overwhelmed at first. And I looked at my director. I said, "What am I going to do?" I was like, "This is so much." He said, "You're just going to figure it out. It's okay. I'll help you. We're going to figure it out." And ultimately, you do the best you can with what you have in that moment. And the really great thing about our band is that they know what they're doing. Like, yes, I'm taking all of these things in, but to some degree, so are they. And I did it as a player, too. I was paying attention to these things, just not quite as intensely as I am now. So they're rock stars. They make me look really good. They make my job really easy, I'm not going to lie.
That's good. That's good. So you're saying that a lot of directing is a lot of thinking on your feet. You can only do so much preparation.
Yep.
But when it's game time, you're always kind of thinking, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
All the time.
Interesting. Okay. I had a question now in the back of my head. Now I can't remember it. So while we think about it, I'm going to play a fun game with you.
Oh, boy.
And I thought this would be fun because you're the director of a band.
Oh, no.
So I have 5 names of fake instruments and 5 names of real instruments. So
all right.
10 total.
Pressure's on.
I want to see what you can get here. So I'm not necessarily going to go in order. So I'm going to see if you can guess fake ones, guess the real ones. And for the real ones, I have a description of what they do.
Okay.
So I'll let you know what they do. So I'll start with the first one. It's a luminara.
Oh, my gosh. My professors are going to be so disappointed if I get these wrong. A luminara. I don't think this is real unless it's from something in, some point in music. I'm going to go not real.
You're right.
Okay.
You're right. Okay, 1 for 1. Number 2, let's go with the vibra drum.
No.
Fake, you're right. 2 for 2.
There's no way.
Hydraulophone.
Did some percussionist somewhere name an instrument a hydraulophone? I want to say no.
You think fake?
Is it real?
It's real.
No way.
So it's using water spouts, and you cover the holes, and it plays a sound. I guess I've never seen one. Apparently, there's one at the Ontario Museum of Science.
Guess I better take a trip to Canada.
I guess so. So 2 for 3. Let's go. Yay Bahar.
No.
It is real.
Oh my gosh.
It's 2 long strings suspended between 2 drums.
Okay.
So, I mean,
interesting.
If that works, you'd know if that kind of works, but
it would. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It would function. It would make sound. I'm not sure what it would sound like.
Yeah.
But it would make sound.
I think the name especially is a throw off. Yay Bahar.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. So you're 2 for 4. Let's go with the sand flute.
Well, now I don't know. Now I'm second guessing everything, I think. I know a flute, there's multiple kinds of flutes. I'm going to say no.
You're right.
Okay.
Yep, I just made that one up.
Perfect.
So you're 3 for 5. Let's go with a Picasso guitar.
Sure, let's say yes.
You're right.
Okay.
I saw a picture of this. It's a guitar. It's made with as many strings as possible. So I think it said 48 strings or something.
Oh my gosh.
And so you have the middle, which is the usual, and then it's 3 different So that would be a bit of a.
Whoever plays that is a brave soul.
I was gonna say that'd be a learning curve for sure. So I think, what are you now? 3 for 6? I've lost track, but I'm gonna keep
Something
going.
like that. I'm seeing 4 over there.
4?
I like
Okay.
4 better.
4? That's pretty good because some of these are not easy. Let's go with the hurdy-gurdy.
That is real. I loved learning about the hurdy-gurdy in music history.
I saw it was used in Game of Thrones.
Yes.
And it said it sounded like a dour cross between a violin and what was the other one? I have it written down. I can't even read it. Oh, bagpipes.
Yes.
Bagpipes. There we go. So I'm surprised that one.
It's like a walking one-man band. It's the most chaotic instrument imaginable. But
I need to watch something on
boy,
that.
is it fun to say.
Is it?
Like,
okay. Yeah, it is. I thought that one might be one of the confusing ones, but you had that
No.
one locked up there. Let's go with the harmonixes.
No.
You're right. Dang, you're getting better as this goes on. I think I have one more of each,
Okay.
so I'll go with the echo drum.
I'm going to say yes.
Fake.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, somebody should name an instrument that
I
because,
feel like
it
that's a
fits.
fairly. I was gonna say that one. I actually looked that up because I'm like, there's probably something that's called an echo drum. Like I feel like that's
And there's so many different names for so many different kinds of
Right.
percussion instruments.
because I didn't want to put one that was fake, and then you're like, no, that actually exists, and I'm like, okay, I lost all my
I am
credibility.
clearly in no position to be doing that.
Well, you got the couple pretty quick. So the last one here is the Winter Gate and Marble Machine.
Is that like what is that?
Well,
It's real?
Yeah.
I kept count. You said you had one of each left. So I was
Okay.
like, this thing's real?
Yeah.
Is
I honestly didn't even know how
Interesting.
to describe it, but it's like it's this huge thing. I mean I would encourage you to go look it up
yeah.
because it was almost as big as like you think about like an arcade game machine.
Okay.
Like, it was big, and it was like I was like, I don't know how the sound works. I don't know how it was. I think it was a European musician that invented it, but I
Interesting.
could be wrong. I'm not sure. But yeah. So I don't know. 7 for 10. What did you do? 7 or 8?
I don't know.
You did pretty well.
I just know that my percussion professor is going to be like, did you pay attention in methods? Which
Well-
I did, I promise.
But no, I encourage you. I will show you some of these after because it's like some of these real ones are like, especially the Picasso guitar. If you're playing that, you're gonna be learning that one.
Yeah,
for a
that's
while.
brutal.
So I thought about my question I was gonna ask you.
Yeah.
Because you're a music major.
Yes.
How does that kind of go hand in hand with first playing in the band
Mm-hmm.
and then directing?
Ooh. I guess this kind of, I hope this answers your question. I, coming into college, fully intended to learn everything I possibly could and take advantage of every opportunity that was presented to me in order to make myself a better director.
Mhm.
So I've treated my 4 years as a music ed major like a training ground, essentially, for the start of my career. I feel like if you don't do that as a music ed major, or really majoring in anything, you're not going to grow as much as you could. So being in the band and playing in it taught me the skills that I needed to play at a high level. This is one of my favorite stories to tell. When I came into college and we sight read concert band music, I thought I was so set. It was like, I've been involved in music since I was in kindergarten. Like, I know what I'm doing, right? And I think I sight read that music at a 20% accuracy, and I was terrified. And I could have quit right then and there. And I decided, no, if I want to be able to teach music, I have to, A, know what it feels like to struggle a little bit, and B, I have to be able to play it well. Simply put, like, I can't stand at the front of the room if I can't do what I'm asking my students to do. So those first few years of just being in the band and being in the athletic band, it was all about playing really well, learning everything I could, picking up everything around me, building those connections with my peers who are eventually going to be out in the same field, probably in the same area as me. And then once I made that transition into being a drum major, it was about, okay, take your experiences sitting in the band, how you felt, what you learned, what you know, what you observed. And when you're standing in front of them, keep that in mind. Don't ask them to do something that you would sit there and go, oh my gosh, do I really have to do that? Don't push them any harder than you yourself would be willing to be pushed. Things like that. You're gauging all of this all at once. And I'm not by any means an expert at it. I'm still learning how to do it. It's still a lot. But I think being in the band and observing those things and being conscious of those things better equipped me to stand in front of them and ask them to play for me. It's all about being the best that you can in what you're doing so that you're prepared to teach.
Right. Yeah, and opening yourself up to new experiences and to be in new positions, right, that you wouldn't necessarily get in the classroom kind of thing. 100%. No, I'm 100% with you. Let's go back to some fun questions.
Yeah.
Because I like the fun questions, and
Bring
it opens up the more, it shows the personalities at VCSU, and I like to do that, and I think that was a big goal of this podcast. So
yeah,
I chose another one that's kind of on brand with like the music type thing.
Right.
But this could really be asked to anybody's. But what's your go-to karaoke song?
Okay. First of all, weirdly enough, I'm not a huge karaoke person.
Okay.
Crazy, right? You would expect me to be. I like watching other people do karaoke. I will do karaoke in a group. My friends and I, we love anything ABBA. So Dancing Queen, really popular. Really, really anything from Mamma Mia. We're like, let's put that on and see how that goes. I think the last one I did was Voulez-Vous.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm not a huge karaoke person. And
That's
people
fair.
take me, they're like, we're going to go do karaoke. And I'm like, you're going to go do karaoke. Yeah.
It's always easier to watch, I think.
Yes.
Especially when you don't know the lyrics, which I always found myself in that situation. So I like when they have the little board.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Gotta tell me the lyrics or I will just start saying words on stage. It's fine.
100%. Next fun one. Dinner with one person, dead or alive, who would it be? And you can go into as much detail as you'd like.
Dinner with one person, dead or alive. Dick Van Dyke.
Okay.
He is an actor who was in, he had a variety show in the 50s or something. I was obsessed as a kid. This was the kind of stuff we watched at my house. And then he was in Mary Poppins and he did a bunch of musicals. And quite frankly, I just think he's really entertaining and really cool. He's also still alive and performing and performed well into his 90s, which what an impressive career.
Yeah.
So I would, when people ask me who my favorite actor is, that's usually my go-to answer. So yeah, if I could sit down with him, that'd be cool.
I like that one. That's an interesting one. I feel like I, to be honest with you, haven't really heard of him until you just brought him up.
That's fair.
So I like that. And then the last kind of fun one I have, and I asked this one to our guest last week, Grant Larson.
Yeah.
What's your favorite restaurant in Valley City?
Ooh, in Valley City. I don't know. The new taco place in town is really good.
All right.
I've been a couple times.
Yep.
It's pretty good.
It is good. I got a couple more questions we're going to wrap up with. Like I said, it's going to come a little full circle here.
Yeah.
But let's start with what's kind of next when you graduate. What are you going to kind of get into? Obviously, I'm going to have to assume it might be something music, but
yeah,
just the way you've been saying, I don't think you're going to be an accountant.
Yeah, no, I'm going to totally switch the career path, actually. I was thinking fisheries and wildlife. No, I don't 100% know what's next. I do know that it's going to be teaching music and preferably teaching. If I could have any dream job, I'd be an ensemble director. I don't care if you hand me an orchestra, a band, a choir. I just want to direct a group of people and make music with them. More than likely, I'll probably end up in a K-12 job somewhere within the area. So student teach in the fall of 25, and then, just kind of start seeing what jobs are out there, seeing who needs a music teacher. And if that's a K-12 job that I land for a time, then bring it on. Those kids deserve to do music. Every kid deserves to have a good music teacher. That was something that was told to me my freshman year by a peer, and it's really stuck with me. So, yes, I'd like to become probably a high school band director and strictly teach high school band.
Mhm.
For a time, I think I'll probably spend some time in a K-12 program.
I like that. I remember when I was in 6th grade, I was in handbells. I don't know if you know what those are.
Yes.
That was probably my very brief music career.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
I love that.
I had the really big ones on the end, so they were the really deep ones.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know. You could probably tell me what
It's-
deep means in music
Oh
terms.
yeah,
But
we're probably talking like lower pitches
Yes.
and also like a big full sound.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was a cool little, like I said, it was my very brief music career. And then my final question for you, and again, I'd love for you to go into as much detail as possible. I know Grant had a very simple answer, but why did you choose VCSU, and kind of when did you start? Well, let's start with why did you choose VCSU?
Why did I choose? This is one of my favorite questions to answer, and there's a couple of different reasons. Number one was my grandma went here. So my
Wow.
grandma got her education degree here, I believe in the 1960s, if I remember correctly. So there's kind of that family history here, and I knew that like if I came to Valley City, even though grandma never once pressured me to come to Valley City, I knew she'd be really excited, and she was. Beyond that, I got recruited to come here just a little bit. I came to an event called the Ployer Honor Band Festival that we have here in October as a sophomore in high school. And I remember coming here and thinking, wow, this campus is so pretty. This is so cool. Met the band director who then, did some lessons with me in high school and kind of started reaching out. And he called me as a senior and he said, look, I want you to audition. I want you to try. And I said, okay, yeah, let's see where this goes. So I auditioned and, they offered me a scholarship and I was really excited. And I got to kind of build those connections with current students that were already here before I had ever even graduated, and professors as well. And I just kind of got to a certain point where even though at the time I was heavily considering going out of state for college, I could not ignore how awesome Valley City looked. And then as someone who knew that I was going to be a teacher, I started digging into the school and digging into the history, and I realized, like, this is the place to get an ed degree in North Dakota. Like, if you want to be a teacher, go to Valley City. So I never took a campus tour. The only time I stepped foot on campus was for that Ployer Honor Band Festival, and I was like, wow, it looks really cool here. And between the connections that I made and my grandma and her stories and just kind of the long line of successful teachers that come from here, I was like, this is the place to be, and I haven't regretted a second of it. So
Yeah, no, that sounds like a great story, and as a bonus, obviously the campus is absolutely beautiful, especially
so
in the leaves.
beautiful.
The leaves turning right now. Oh my gosh!
I was just talking with my roommate the other day. I was like, God, this is our last fall in Valley City, and she went, "Don't say that. It's
Yep.
so sad."
Yep, I was thinking the same thing, and so I had a follow-up question to that, but then
Yeah.
again, I just can't remember it off the top of my head. I'll see if I can think about it. We can just do a little more chit chat.
Yeah,
If that's okay
that's
with you.
totally fine.
I feel like there's no shortage of stuff we could talk about VCSU. Do you have any other favorite kind of stories while you've been here? It doesn't even have to be music. It can just be, lawn games or
Oh yeah.
or anything you did here while
Favorite
that you
stories.
put you on the spot. I'm making you think
yeah,
for me.
I know. It's one of those things where like I have all these stories, but they all start to run together. We'll chat about Summer Vikes just this year.
Okay.
Actually, we got done marching. Now, in past years, never usually went back to the street dance. I don't know why. I was busy. I don't know. Looking back, I'm like, Tara, you should have just gone to the street dance, right? But I have friends that are big into dancing right now. And so we were like, all right, street dance time. We have marched. We have worked. Let's go have a great time. I also agreed to sit in the dunk tank.
Oh,
Great time. So much fun. I did get out of the dunk tank soaked with no extra clothes to change into.
oh.
And I just ran around with all of my friends, dancing, having a great time at the street dance, just leaving a puddle of water. I was just
At
dripping.
least it was warm that day.
Head to toe, yeah. And everyone's looking at me. They're like, you look like a drowned rat. Like, what are you doing? And I was like, you know what? I am dancing. And we had so much fun. But just little things like that. I think that has kind of defined my college experience. Like, yes, I'm in all of these public performances, and I'm in the public eye a lot, and the whole band is. But when it comes right down to it, it's those little moments like dancing, and the random like late night drives that we will take out and go hiking, and just the little things like that have really made my time here so incredibly special.
I love that. And I actually love that to be the end of the podcast, because that's just a really great way to leave it off. You're absolutely right. You can be in all the clubs, all the organizations. You can be in a million credits a semester, but like the moments with your friends, the people you meet here. Obviously, you come from a small town in North Dakota.
Yes.
I come from a different country. So you definitely, meet new people.
Yeah.
There's people from all over the place. And it's really great to, just build those memories and get an education while you're at it. But Tara Dahl, thank you for being here for the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
And that's been episode 2 of Viking Voices with Jaden Babiuk and Tara Dahl. We say so long.